As the prophet of esports, I rely on trustworthy and meaningful data every day. Data from our research partner YouGov offers the most complete view of esports fans and gamers in the world, providing context to who they are, what they think, the brands they buy, and things they do. YouGov's connected insights and research services inform strategy at every level. If you're a team, a brand, agency, or rights holder, you should be talking with YouGov. Their partners measure and maximize ROI and are telling compelling stories with data. Visit yougov.com/gaming-esports to learn more. Guys, I want to talk about Dr. Disrespect. You guys know how much I love the doc, and he's in the news. Lindsay,
you
what?
need to talk about him.
Now you're becoming like Jeff on the chair stories. I've got a chair story just for you, just for you this week. And the headline here is YouTuber Dr. I love that they call him YouTuber. That's also clearly not like a gaming publication, has written this, because I've never heard him referred to as YouTuber Dr. Disrespect.
Probably paid for that. That's like branded content.
Yeah. YouTuber Dr. Disrespect, banned from Twitch. I love how they have to mention that. I'm not sure how it's relevant to the story. Launches gaming NFTs on Polygon. So Dr. Disrespect's game studio, Midnight Society, has former Call of Duty and Halo employees at its helm. So they launched this game studio, as we've talked about many times before, and now they're releasing 10,000 Founders Access NFTs. That's what they're calling it, for early community members. Basically, the NFTs, you pay $50 for them, and it won't give you any pay-to-win perks, but holders will get early access to game builds, a profile picture usable within Midnight Society games, studio events access, and voting rights on game features. So I'll just read the quote here from the co-founder at Midnight Society. This is not Doc. He says, "We're utilizing blockchain for the access passes specifically because we envision these being a cross-platform membership that will cover not just our first game, codename Project Moon, but also any games we publish in the future, whether developed by us or not." So $50 NFT gives you early access and some other perks, some voting rights on game features. You guys think this is genius? It's revolutionary. I mean, the doc has made big promises with Midnight Society that, not that it's going to change gaming, but, has promised that this was going to be a different kind of studio. What do you guys think of the NFTs here being sold? Jeff, maybe start with you. You and I, shameless plug, host the Meta Business podcast, where we talk about a lot of stories like this. So make sure you go subscribe to that Meta Business podcast on Spotify, Apple, Google Play, wherever. Go ahead,
I'm
Jeff.
curious to see what the response is, from kind of the hardcore gaming community, or really, the Doc's fans. Because I saw a lot on, of commentary on Twitter from some of kind of the crypto enthusiasts and people pushing that narrative that, hey, this was super bullish because the Doc's got this great reputation. He got it within his at least gaming community and all these fans. And obviously NFTs and games have been a hot button issue. A lot of, call it, the core gaming audience has sort of repelled them. And maybe this is something where if the Doc is willing to cross the picket line, it's sort of like is the thing that opens the dam. I'm not sure I believe that, but it will be interesting to maybe track the sentiment of his fan base, whether they are sort of really bullish on this, or if they kind of view this as the Doc selling out. Because, I don't want to paraphrase your take that you had in our kind of private chat, but really this is just, early access by another name. There's nothing super innovative here at all about this. But yeah, so I'm curious what everyone else thinks.
It's hard because I haven't, obviously you guys recorded your episode a day, and for our live listeners, it'll be out. Or
we didn't comment on this, by the way.
Okay. I didn't want to take away from that. I was going to defer to the episode and just, it doesn't change my thoughts here, which is, fundamentally, I'm in favor of utility NFTs that reward communities. You have a very digitally minded audience here that has crypto wallets, that consumes their content digitally, that hangs out digitally. And what you're doing is you're offering them exclusive access to a celebrity in their eyes and to be a part of his early access community through a digital asset. And that asset that has been criticized in the past for having no real value is now being given value, because as a holder of that, you're getting, you're getting that founder's access. Bieber, for example, launched like an NFT, and people that own it can potentially enter raffles to meet him at concerts. And you're finding other utilities in these NFTs where it's a lot more than a JPEG. We talked about XQC criticizing NFTs maybe 3 weeks ago, just saying they were kind of cash grabs, that they were mindless. And then we kind of made fun of them because, like, well, what are your all the twit bits and things that people buy to cheer at you? How's that any different? I don't know. I think Dr. Disrespect is one of those big names. I think he's very clever at marketing himself. That's why he's as big as he is. He's one of the first guys I think that we saw get that big by wearing costumes and being really over the top with his personality. And I think if he's launching a new gaming studio and a new first-person shooter that he's already claiming is going to beat out Call of Duty, you have to back that up, and you have to continue to get the support and loyalty of your community. Because I think these Twitch creators, a big reason why they're also successful is because they have very loyal communities, right? We had OTK on the podcast 2 months ago saying they're not going to do sponsorships or activations that aren't true to who they are and their core, because their audience wouldn't vibe with it and follow that activation.
What are you doing besides creating speculation and sort of just using this buzzword?
I have an answer to that. I want to hear Lindsay's take first.
I do too. And it's the same reason why, sports stadiums have t-shirt nights and dollar beer nights and all the other things, is that you're getting something in return for your engagement with the thing that you're doing. One of the most unique parts of this, I think, is that they're allowing, or that he's putting in a part where people who play the game can actually offer input. And I think we kind of glossed over that a bit, but voting on features and all of that is actually a really interesting mechanism to collect feedback from the community and also give them something like a digital asset in return for that feedback. I think that's really smart. And I think that is actually a very unique way of engaging in the game development process. What I'm a little hesitant on is I still don't know if it's too early for the gaming community to recognize what this mechanism is and how it's working. And I still think that there's some, I'm I guess a little nervous for him, because I genuinely think this is very cool and very unique, but I'm also a little nervous that it's going to get a lot of pushback and basically saying like, oh, you're paying $50 for the NFT. It's like, oh no, you're actually paying $50 for early access and the ability to comment on the game. And in return, you're actually getting a digital asset the same way you would get, a free t-shirt or the terrible towel or a Funko Pop or whatever it is that you get when you go to sports games and stadiums. So I think it's actually a good give and take and trade. But I don't know that it's going to be necessarily viewed like that.
Yeah, I hate to say this. I think you guys are wrong on this. And I come to Jeff's question, which is, why does this have to be an NFT? And it really doesn't. Like, it doesn't have to be an NFT. It probably shouldn't be, right? And I think this is a rare misstep for the doc. And let me try and explain why I think he's made a big misstep here. What he's offering here is not new. It's a game pre-order. And all the things that you get with this are things I've got with many, many game pre-orders that I've done over the years, right? Like literally all the exact same features, including input on the development process. Like I was a super early backer of Ashes of Creation, right? They send surveys all the time asking what features. Like this is none of this is new. None of this is novel. None of this is innovative whatsoever. Here's what happened. The doc came out and made very big statements around, this is going to be different, right? This is going to be new. Oh, this is about involving the creators. This is about, right? Like, and big statements about how he was going to do something radically different from what everyone else was doing. And so he painted himself in this corner where like, he can't just do a normal pre-order anymore, right? Like that feels old and like, that's been done. And so he had to do this like lame NFT drop, because that's what it is, for it to feel new. That's the reason why it's an NFT, and the only reason. It has to feel innovative. It has to sound. I think what he's miscalculated is the trend in gaming is severe backlash against anything that feels like a pre-order, right? Cyberpunk ruined pre-orders for the entire industry. I don't think that's coming back in any significant way for the most part, especially not first-time studios. And I think also where he's miscalculated is if his game's going to be free to play, and who knows, like we don't know if it's a $50 box copy or a free to play game. Like the people who spent $50 up front, if it's not like a pre-order for a $50 game, if it's just like a pre-order for a free to play game, that's going to, I think he will make some enemies there, right? I don't think people will be terribly happy. And so this, I feel like he forced his own hand to do something that is not natural just for the sake of saying it's new and different. And you know, if the doc's listening, I don't think he has to be new and different. He just has to make a fun game. And if he's forgotten that already, this project's doomed. And so it'll be interesting to see where it goes. I will just say the only scenario I see where this makes sense as an NFT, and you guys can agree or disagree here, is by limiting the amount of, it's like limiting the amount of pre-orders you could do, right? So if I come out with a game today and I say you can pre-order it for $50, I'm not going to limit the pre-orders, right? I want to sell as many pre-orders as possible. By limiting the amount of pre-orders to 20,000 NFTs, maybe he's banking on the idea that there'll be so much excitement and demand for the game to have the access to these pre-order features will, like, maybe these NFTs will trade at $100 or $150 because if I want to pre-order the game and get early access, now I can't. It's not unlimited. And so maybe he's hoping for a secondary market, like cash grab for these NFTs, but that would be also very lame as a reason, right? Like if he's thinking he's going to make money on the back end of reselling, it feels like small potatoes for a guy who has the opportunity to make a massively successful game if they do it right. So long-winded, but that's, I don't think it needs to be an NFT. Sim says, I'm with Jimmy for the NFT. It's true. And then, assuming you agreed with me on that last one.
Did we get Chris's last comment too? Yeah.
Chris says streamers are modern day boy bands, massive audiences of children and buying power. Question remains, who is Paul's favorite member of NSYNC? Chris, the fact that you even assume that I would be a fan of NSYNC or know any of the members of NSYNC, we haven't spent enough time together.
Oh, so you're saying you're a Backstreet Boys kind of guy?
Oh,
That's
definitely.
what I'm hearing.
That's how I heard. That's what I heard.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
I agree, actually. But it's got to be Justin Timberlake. That's the only one.
Yes.
Chris, I do agree with the first point, though, that streamers are modern day boy bands. 100%. That's such a good analogy. Chris says it's always about adoption. Every NFT has a community. What better ambassador than the Justin Timberlake of streamers? Doc has a fighting chance. Yeah, I mean, he has a fighting chance against gamers, I guess, but I don't think he overcomes the sort of because it's a pre-order, right? And I don't know if gamers will be fooled by the veneer of the NFT. Like if he had just done, I think, unique Doc art to raise money for the game, I feel like that would have gone over better. I maybe I'm wrong, but I think I would have been better with that. Any of you guys would have been better off with that, or think that might have done better?
Yes, I agree with that. Also, I think it's interesting that they're capping it at a fairly low number, right? 10,000 is, I would argue, pretty low. So, you know, it's interesting, like, how would we feel if this wasn't an NFT and they were just selling a $50 pre-order? We'd probably be more outraged. Maybe we'd be more outraged. Maybe we'd be less.
No, you wouldn't be outraged, but you'd be like, hey, we don't know if the game's going to be good. Don't pre-order, right? That's kind of the message that gamers have all fallen on. YouTubers have all fallen on, right? Like everyone's just like, wait till the game comes out, see the reviews, then buy it. Pre-orders aren't going away, let's be clear, but there is a dislike of pre-orders among the gaming audience.